Hello, everybody. If you're new here, my name is Russ.
I'm Kerry.
And we are the Roads We Roam.
Welcome to our Coffee with Kerry and Russ, where we get together every Sunday. We talk about different RV topics, and today is a very interesting topic.
Yes, it is.
But one that we all deal with at some point or another.
We basically, recently, we put on our community page, we had a poll up there. And the poll question went something like this. When it comes to using the bathroom in your RV, what system do you prefer? The options were gray and black tanks, composting toilet, cassette toilet. They only use the RV for number one, and or other. So before we get on to the results of that poll, I'd like to find out from you guys. If you use black and gray tanks, type BG. If you use a composting toilet or you prefer, type CT. If you use a cassette toilet or prefer a cassette toilet, type C. You only use the RV for number one, type 1, or other, type O.
So Jerry Holly, hey Jerry.
Jerry.
Black tank.
Awesome.
I was trying to figure out why you picked BG, but it's black and gray.
Black and gray,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Roy and Becky's Travels, BG.
Okay.
This Nomadic Idea, CT. And I was reading through right before we went live. It seems like he had a mic drop incident in his CT. So
yeah, I saw that.
Don't touch their mic for a while. No, I'm just kidding. Care for Life. If I only use my RV for one, then I'm a mess. Susan LL, BG.
Okay. Black and gray tanks.
Proceeding Onward in America, BG.
All right.
Roy and Becky's Travels, now take O for other.
Other, okay.
Steve.
Go ahead and comment under the other what it is that you do.
Avenger RV Adventure, BG. Camper Life, BG because of wife.
yeah, he left a comment. We'll get to the comments later because I'm going to read these comments. Rosebud's Travels in the room, they say BG, but he left a funny comment on the community page.
Brian and Lucy from Wone Elliott RV Adventures, BG.
BG, okay.
Let's see, Donna, she said, or ever. I think it was an answer to something else. 3 for the Road RV, hello. And they are BG, black and gray tank users.
All right.
Let's see. Susan says Jessica, for those of you who don't know, is William's wife. Jessica is smart. Yes, she is. Let's see.
So Avenger RV Adventure says the closest tree.
Yeah, that's a tree. We can't do that. Mom, a.k.a. Jen Stay, nothing. I live in a home.
So you use a flush toilet.
Roy and Becky's Travels, so for the other, they do the 3 Ps.
Yep, I saw what that is. Everybody can read that on your own there. Yeah, just a little warning here, just due to the nature of this, or the topic of this conversation, it might be a little TMI, but it's an issue that we all face. You know, I think for us, Kerry and I, the reason why we're doing this is because we had talked about maybe retrofitting to a composting toilet.
Well, that was one of the things with our little guy Max. We only had a 9-gallon black tank.
Yeah.
And it really limited the amount of time that we could spend out. So we were seriously considering putting in a composting toilet. And then we moved into Boone, and we figured we would use our little guy Max for shorter trips, so it really wouldn't be an issue. And we have a 43-gallon black tank.
Yep.
And we can go quite a while without that, and it didn't seem
without
as
what?
Without having to swap out. We can go longer.
Yeah.
So
43-gallon tanks takes us a couple of weeks, you know, and more. So for us now, we I think we're set on tanks. You know, I want to get into what the online poll said.
Okay,
here.
so what's some of the comments say?
All right, so, well, not comments, but the poll results.
Oh, that's right.
So the poll results were 79% of the people who voted said tanks, black and gray. So, and that's pretty consistent with what we're seeing here. 8% said composting toilet. 4% said cassette toilet.
Okay.
Another 4% said they only use the RV bath for number one, which is interesting because when we first started off in the Little Guy Max, that's what we did.
It was verboten to use it for anything other than that. Russ
Exactly.
said, no, I'm emptying the black tanks Only that you'd have to go to but we camped at campgrounds a lot more.
Yeah, we didn't
that
boondock
had-
as much.
No, we didn't.
So, and that was more out of fear. I didn't want to mess anything up. I didn't want to mess with the black tanks. So we went with only using RV, or only using the RV for number one. And then 4% said the other.
Now, POA said Fabian wants to do a composting toilet on their next rig.
Okay.
And Camper Life, in his other rig, he actually did swap them out.
He did, yeah. I remember. I saw that video.
And William, if you wouldn't mind putting in the comments so Russ can kind of bring it up and talk a little bit more about it. One of the reasons why you decided to not put it in your newer rig, and it was interesting because I figured that's a pretty sizable investment. From what I remember when we were kind of looking into it, those composting toilets are not cheap. They run
Yeah, about $1,000.
Nature's Head, and I forget the other.
Well, here's a big reason why I know a lot of people who are thinking about about going over to a composting toilet don't, and it's just because what you mentioned. One, it's expensive. Two, it's kind of expensive also because they're bigger than your typical toilet, so you may have to redo the entire bathroom area as well to make room for that. So that's a reason, but I'm sure William will pipe in there. Let's go on to some of the comments here about from online, unless you've got some that you want to read here real quick.
Donna said she put one in her tab, and yes, they are pretty pricey. Yeah, there you go. And then this nomadic idea said, Ariane and I did a cat hole 200 feet away from a stream or a creek. When it comes down to use, we don't even use our composting toilet that much. So, excuse me, if they're out boondocking, did the computer know?
Yeah, it doesn't work, so forget it.
Here, give it to me.
So here,
I'll let you look at comments.
Let's talk about that here real quick. About digging holes and stuff. Typically they say, I think for backpackers, wow, you got it up right away. Typically for backpackers, they say, I think 6 to 8 inches, dig down and cover. And so I see a lot of people saying, hey, that's what I do. I dig 6 to 8 inches, and then I dump my the bag with the composting in there. And I think that's probably something you need to think about. If you're out backpacking and it's a single waste issue, okay. But when you have, a couple weeks of composting, I think you got to go a little deeper than 6 to 8 inches. I think, you've got here. Hand that over to me, and I'll start reading these.
Okay.
So, and a lot of times it's difficult to go deeper than 6 to 8 inches.
So
it just died again. Forget it, guys.
Russ is technically challenged. Give it to me.
No, we're not going to do it.
So, Nature's Head, Camper Life said Nature's Head runs about $1,000, and Airhead is about $1,200.
Okay.
And Donna said for swapping hers out in the tab, it was a very easy install.
Excellent. I
Now
didn't know that she had swapped out.
Yeah, I vaguely remember her mentioning it, but if you had asked me at the top of the hour, I probably wouldn't have remembered that. Roy and Becky's Travels said that they're considering an incinerator toilet, which I haven't heard of those yet.
Okay, so I would imagine that would be propane?
I don't know.
Yeah, so another reason that I don't like composting toilet too is I think it's a little bit more battery usage because you've got to have some sort of fan for that venting system. So that's another drain there,
Camper, but I've heard it's a very little.
Yeah, but it's the whole totality. So yeah, if it's just that fan, okay. But you've got the fan, you've got the LED lights, you've got the Togo, you've got the heater from the middle of the night. So all these things in totality add up.
So Camper Life said for them, the Nature's Head was great for men, but not so great for women without having to go too much into detail.
Yeah.
And this brings up an issue where, kind of bringing in the man thing you were talking about the other day, as far as flushing.
Yeah, well, here I think when you're thinking about a composting toilet, again, I've never had one. I'm just going in my mind. This is more asking you guys that have had one or maybe know people that have had one. When everything is fine and you're feeling good, it's not that big of a deal. But there are times when you're have an upset stomach, or
somebody had mentioned in here ulcerative colitis.
yeah, okay, don't know what that is, but where you have an issue and clean up. You know, whereas a bowl, all you got to do is fill that bowl up with water. The more water you put into a regular flush bowl in an RV, the less cleanup you have. So, but what happens in that issue? You've got to clean the bowl because all you have is like peat moss or something, right? So that kind of scares me when it comes to a composting toilet. You know, I speaking of that, I want to kind of go into, this is how it works for us with our black and gray tanks. So I just want to typically how this works. I'm sure all of you know this. There might be some new people that are wondering, but a typical setup is a black and gray tank, and then our process for dumping is you connect the hose to the ground with an elbow. You know, then you connect the same hose to the RV. Pull the black first, pull the gray afterwards to rinse the yicky water away with less yicky water, and disconnect from the RV. Most every dump place that I went to has a hose that you use to rinse out everything, and then so you rinse the sewer hose, disconnect from the ground, cap both ends of the hose, and then, you know, I spray the elbow with a 50-50 water and bleach solution, and then store it. It's done. You know, I mean, you're done.
Now, going back to, William said that the power draw is less than 1 amp per day. So just for people that are trying to, I'll tell you, there are some people out there that know the exact amps that they are using for every piece of equipment in their rig, and they know how many hours they can run certain things. We are not to that point yet. We are getting to the point now where we kind of have a rough idea how much we can do, but I don't have it down to the numbers yet. But there are some people out there that you can ask them and they know that. But one thing about RVing, especially if you're using solar power or just watching your batteries, you start paying attention to those little tags, those little stickers on the back of anything that's electrical, so you can see what the draw is on that stuff. So this pneumatic idea said the air head has a seal and can be used in a wet bath, whereas a nature's head cannot. So that's something important to know, because a Little Guy Max, for example, is a wet bath.
Yep.
So, and I didn't know that, Scott, so thank you, because when we were considering it, we were just considering, oh, do we like the nature's head or the airhead? But now it completely removes one out of there if you're concerned about that. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's see. Learning as we're living said, interesting point, Russ. Never thought of that mess when things aren't dandy.
Yeah. I mean, that does spook me out.
Find out. Oh, and another important thing that we learned from Scott and Ariane, when you're renovating bathrooms, make sure you got enough room to shut the door adequately and be comfortable when you install it. Avenger RV Adventure says it now. If you do have a composting toilet or get one, here's a little tip for you. Put a couple squares of the tissue paper down or whatever before you go to the bathroom first. That helps with the cleanup.
Okay.
So
that makes sense. But here's my question too. Here's a question on the composting side. Does it really compost? Is this really composting human waste? And how long does it take to compost? I've read things where it said like 3 months to compost. Now, are we actually going to be running around holding this stuff for 3 months? Probably not. So now you're kind of relegated to getting rid of these solid wastes. And how do you get rid of these solid wastes?
Okay, so I have a question for people that own it, because this is something I didn't pay attention to. For the solid waste portion, I know that there's a separate little bin for it, but are there bags, and then you just take the bags and then toss it? And then if so, where do you toss them?
Yeah.
So for those of you that are in the know or have those type of systems, please put that down below. Camper Life said, I think the Airhead is actually the better product between the two. The Airhead feels more like a home toilet that you would find.
Okay.
And if they go back to composting toilet, that would be the one that they would choose.
Okay.
And then this nomadic idea answered your question about the composting thing, and he said no, it only starts the process of decomposition.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which kind of leads into, now, where do you dump this? I've had people ask us before on another subject. They said, hey, when it comes to composting toilets, can you throw them, the bagged waste, in a trash receptacle?
Okay, so Donna said that there are no bags.
Okay, but you're going to have to bag it up to get rid of
because
it.
you've got this bin of waste.
Yeah.
And she said it's like shredded coconut fibers and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yep.
And then Roy and Becky said with the incinerator toilet, all you have is ashes that can go in the garbage.
So
See,
that's
to me,
something
that sounds
interesting.
Better.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd never heard of this before.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I don't know much about that. I've heard about them, but it didn't even enter my mind when I was doing the poll. Otherwise, I would have used that. So that's a great point. I'm going to do a little bit of research on that. But again here, what do you do with this waste? You're going to have to bag it to throw it away, even if it doesn't come with a bag. So I did a little bit of research. Now, the EPA, which is federal, says that the bagged waste is like dirty diapers, adult and or children. It's like dog poop, in the dog bags. So, and it is completely safe to bag that up and throw that away in a dumpster because it's municipal waste, which means that the municipal waste system can handle that. But then there's a caveat there too. The EPA also says that it's local too. So their stand is that municipal waste can handle it. However, you might be in some city, town, or county that says negative, we don't play that game.
So know the rules in the area that you will be in.
So yeah, let's go back now. We can read because I'm sure there's a bunch of great information
So
coming
Camper
through.
Life said you can dump it in a trash bag and then throw it just in a regular trash can.
Mm-hmm.
And as like you said, with other human waste, with diapers, sanitary pads, things like that, so it can be considered that way. Now, this nomadic idea said we dump in a composting bag and then you can dump it from there. See, to me that makes sense because a while ago you did a thing on the luggable loo.
Yep.
And to go with the luggable loo, they sell this product called the double duty bag. And this thing is like, if you've ever bought an MRE, that really thick plastic, that basically if you use this double duty bag, whatever you put in there is going to still be in there 1,200 years from now.
Yeah.
Because that bag is not going to degrade. I'm just saying that they can do some pretty interesting experiments on that. Now, yes, it completely protects everything in the area and you're not going to have that spillage, but then what is that going to the environment?
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a special composting type of bag, like what Scott and Ariane were talking about, and you can put that in a landfill, then you do have the peace of mind knowing that that will somehow
break down a little easier.
Camper Life said, I ask for forgiveness, not permission. Well, POA said, but if you throw it away in a bag by itself, will they really know you did it? Doubt they'll test it to find out who it was.
Yeah, and I guess it comes down to kind of like what William said there, ask for forgiveness before permission. And I do get that. I mean, it's kind of like the speed limit. They say, hey, you can only do 55. People are doing 65, 70. Is it worth not really worth the getting a ticket or something like that, but maybe is this worth the potential damage you're going to do to the environment? Or if you're speeding, worth getting into an accident and hurting an innocent bystander. So I do get that, and I'm not saying that I don't ever speed. I don't speed in this because it's too big. But
no, here's my thing. When you travel a lot like we do, we often have a hard enough time just finding places where we can dump our trash to begin with. To me, for us, for our situation, just having a traditional black tank system is a lot better because that's less trash bags I have to worry about, and then there's designated areas like at gas stations and stuff that we can dump our tanks.
It really takes us 10 minutes to dump a 43-gallon tank. Yeah, I mean, 10 minutes and we're done. So to me, it's a lot easier And I don't have any issues with it being unsanitary. You think about people, the smell. Well, if you're getting a lot of smell from it, you have issues. When we first got this, we were getting a smell.
Yes, but we had a faulty valve.
We had a faulty valve. Once I replaced that, it went away. So I think if you're having smells in your tank system, it's because you have an issue, whether it's a valve, whether it's a venting issue or something like that. So you need to check into that. Because now that we have that valve fixed, no smell.
So here's something I'm curious about, because you see a lot of Bs, Class B vans.
Mm-hmm.
They have the cassette toilet.
Yeah.
And when we were looking at the Micromax, the new prototype from Little Guy,
Yeah.
they have the cassette toilet.
They had a Thetford porta potty.
Yes.
Yep.
And so those, to me, correct me if I'm wrong, they're almost like a little Blue Boy. That everything goes in there, and then you can take it in. I remember watching We're the Russos.
Yeah.
One time, and Kate always got stuck having to deal with that, and she would just walk it into like a public restroom, and it's a small thing, so you have to do it regularly, so it's not like you're unloading a lot like you would a Blue Boy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But how convenient or easy is that if you have one of those systems?
Yeah, it comes down to, here's different things. So you're talking about the cassette, there's more steps, which means more places where something could go wrong. What if you trip and spill it? You think about macerator pumps and that sort of thing, where it takes a small diameter hose, chews up the poo and the tissue paper, so you can put it down a smaller hose. Really, to me, that just seems like, man, things could really go wrong with that if you had an issue. I can see the value of a macerator hose is maybe if you don't have gravity. Maybe for some reason the way you're parked, the where the dump is a little bit higher than where your tanks are. So then a macerator will pump that through. So I can see that.
One of the greatest benefits of having an RV with any of these type of systems, you never have to worry about the overflow inside, like you would with a home toilet, or if you go to like it's never happened to me, but I always had this terrifying thought when you would travel, going to flush the toilet, what if it overflows in my stall? And don't let it happen to me. Don't let it happen to me. But Three for the Road RV said when we were boondocking and tent camping and using the double duty bags with our luggable loo, we would dig a 3-foot hole to put things in. And Rosebud's Travels asked, where are we? Which I'm guessing you're wondering what this beautiful view.
Yeah. We've been showing on our Instagram, if you're following our Instagram or our Facebook page, these beautiful scenes where we ghost towns and lakes and stuff. Unfortunately, when you're out in places like that,
zero
connectivity. So we are in a Walmart parking lot in Winnemucca. I keep saying Wiki up. In Winnemucca, Nevada, and that is a beautiful crane behind us.
Because we're pushing on to Oregon today.
Yep.
And it doesn't look like, we don't know, we've never traveled that route before. We don't know what the cellular connection is, but there are like 0 towns between here and where we're hoping to wind up later today. So we figured it was better to just stay put here.
Yeah, it goes with what we've always said. Our biggest tip to RVers, whether it's where to camp, where to get food, where to get gas, go with what you know.
Go with what you know.
I mean, because really, you could get stuck in a situation and what you think might work, but it's not what you think, it's what you know. That just ain't so. So we go with what we know.
Wow, you are throwing in all those quotes.
Yeah, I know, right?
So Auntie Debbie Jean said she had a cassette toilet in their A-liner Escape.
Ooh, I love the A-liners. Yes, we just put our A-liner video out.
She said it was easy to dump and it wasn't messy at all. The only problem, and I think it was Izzy and MJ that made the comment on this, but with the A-liners, I loved them. I thought they were very cool. They were garageable, so when we were first looking, and we had to worry about having an RV in place, the deal breaker for me was just having no privacy when you're using the restrooms. Russ, turn your head. That's not going to work for me.
Yeah, that's
I have
only
enough time in the Little Guy Max with that glass door.
And that's really only if you have like a Thetford porta potty sitting inside there, because there is not a space for that inside there.
This nomadic idea. RV toilet paper is the best composting paper, bar none. We actually take that paper on the trail. And that's good to know, because when you are backpacking and hiking, which I think I would have a very hard time. I'd have to bring that little portable tent for privacy. I don't want to get caught in the woods, have a bear come at me or something like that.
Yes,
No
I
way.
don't have a problem with it.
Hello, Cindy Wheeler.
Hey, Cindy, thanks for joining us.
She just popped in.
While you're doing that, let me talk about, so if you do have these, we talked about this nomadic idea, mentioned that there are composting bags that you can use to get rid of stuff, but now where can you dump these? Okay, so we mentioned putting them in a dumpster. I've seen people go to pit toilets, like at national parks or state parks. We all know that they're there, and dump those in there. I mean, that's an easy way for us to get rid of it, but I'm thinking a little deeper here, and what kind of, so you might have a week or two of waste that you're dumping in this toilet, and you may have only been there 2 days. So what you're doing is and those are difficult to clean out, a lot of manpower, a lot of money. So, and these parks are already hurting for budget wise. So now you've added 2 weeks of waste to something that you may have only been there 2 days. So, yeah, I'm just wondering, what are ways to get rid of these, you know?
Roy and Becky's Travels said, we carry a cassette toilet with us for backup. Honey's tanks are 38 years old and cracked at the pipe.
Ooh.
It's repaired now, but it could still crack again. New tanks when we get back to Indiana. So that's actually a very smart thing, to have that backup system with you while you're there.
Here's something too, just talking about tanks and replacing tanks. I replaced this valve on here. It took me about 45 minutes, but the only reason it's that knife valve that you pull. The only
How
reason
much was the knife valve?
The knife valve was like $24.
Okay.
But the only reason I did it back then was because, or the only reason it took an hour was because it was so tight. I'm trying to get the wrench in there, because we called a RV repair shop and they have ridiculous prices. Let's say, and I'm just throwing numbers out because I don't remember, but let's say their hourly charge is $50 an hour to work on anything in the RV. When it comes to black tanks, their hourly charge would be like $125 an hour, and I think that's typically what it is. It's normally like $125, and they're when they're working on black tanks, it doubles, just because it's messy and it's nasty and nobody wants to work on it. So I ended up doing it. Cost us about $24. Took me about 45 minutes to an hour, and we got that fixed.
And that was within the first week of us owning the RV, which I was really. You know, the whole reason why we got our little guy Max was so we could have the least amount of technical things to fix. And then within a week of us buying this, you fixed that, and we fixed the burner tube assembly on the
learned how to
fridge.
do both of those from YouTube, actually.
YouTube University. We love it. Weekend RVing. Hey, guys. And they said, I am happy with the black tank, maybe because I'm just used to it, and change in this area is scary.
Yeah, I agree.
Go with what you know bit.
Yeah.
You know, we've gotten used to it. We haven't had any major issues with it, so I would be less inclined to put the investment to switch this over to
I used to think that I would go composting. Now I'm thinking I would just stick with the tanks. I know it works. We haven't had any issues with it, so I'm going to stick with that.
Thin Blue Line said, hi guys, our Togo is sketchy down here. We can't see your video, but wanted to show support. Oh, thank you,
well,
guys.
thanks for joining us, guys.
We know how that goes. You know, that's one of the things, when we were in Florida and on the East Coast, we lived off the Togo.
Yep.
That was a lifesaver out there. Our Verizon was hit or miss. Since we've been out west, the Verizon has been the solid one. The AT&T is spotty.
I would say it's useless out here on the West Coast. Can't remember the last time we used our Togo to any where we could actually stream stuff off of it. It's been horrible out here at AT&T.
Houston, mid-Texas area.
Yeah.
So let's see. We have. Okay, so. Do you add an extra valve in your line for a backup?
No, I don't have.
And that was from Camper Life.
Yeah, I have. I don't know exactly what he's talking about
do
there.
you have two? So if you pulled one and it failed, there's another one.
Is that what he's asking about?
That's
well,
how I read it anyway.
For us, that would require cutting the pipe again, and I'm not going to do that.
No, he's not allowed to cut the pipe. This was just sliding one out and putting a new one in.
Yeah. But, I mean, it could be wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know
Sorry.
what exactly he's talking about. Carrie's kicking the table. So
Roy
we're
and
back.
Becky's Travels said, I changed our valves too just a few days ago.
Uh-huh.
And POA said, oh, if that happened, we would have took it back to the RV place and have them fix it. Unfortunately, this one was an as-is. We bought a used vehicle, and
Yeah.
it was just an as-is.
I mean, really,
deal.
for the problems that could have gone wrong with this, yeah, it wasn't ideal, but really we could have had a lot of bigger issues. So that was a $24 fix. Like I said, it took me 45 minutes to an hour.
And then Jerry Holly says he has an extra one at the hookup part.
Okay.
So that actually makes sense. You put that there, but you do have a little trick to
Yes.
test.
So I have now pulled the valve and just it wasn't connected quite well. So I learned this from somebody else. Can't remember where I read it, but if you want to test before you pull that black tank, hook up, have everything hooked up, and just quickly pull that gray valve just for a second. Because if you're going to have an issue, it's going to show right then and there, and then it's only gray tank stuff. It's not the really bad stuff. So if it starts to leak, boom, shut the gray off, fix everything, make sure it's set again, and try with the gray again. If there's no issue, then you just close that gray, drop the black, and then rinse with the gray.
And another thing Russ learned early on, always make sure that little
O-ring. That was the problem. Where I had a little black spillage.
He had a black.
It wasn't much because I caught it quick. I reacted fast, but I put the connector. It's a bayonet connector. I put it on the rig, and I was like, "Wow, that thing is really loose." Or it usually had resistance, and then it would click. It just kind of slid on. I was like, "Wow, that's weird." Well, the problem was that inside my hose, there's an O-ring.
That's weird, but I'm still going to use it.
Yeah,
it's different
exactly.
than what I'm used to.
The O-ring had fallen out.
So we ordered it. You can order extra O-rings, or you can buy them at Camping World. They're very inexpensive.
Yeah.
So now we have a couple extra on hand just in case, because they do pop out.
Yeah, but I know what it feels like now, so that won't happen. I know what it smells like too.
The hard way.
Oh my goodness, that was horrible.
Yeah, I was inside, and all of a sudden I hear Russ gagging, and I knew something was wrong. So I was smart enough to not ask him what was going on.
Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't that big of a deal. And fortunately, the way we were set up, it was in that concrete containment area.
Yeah.
So I just had to rinse it down. But yeah, nobody likes having black tank mistakes.
Our crazy RV life. We like our tanks. Can't imagine using a composting system.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if we were boondocking all the time, way out in nowhere, we would change our minds, but not at this point in time. And then Diane Ski said, I have a black tank, but I only use it when boondocking or camping where no bathroom is available. That's another way that we do stretch things out, where if there are bathrooms close by,
Yep.
that we can alternatively use those. That way we know we can stretch out the amount of time. But here's another important thing that I recently read. And because we tend to travel more, we'll usually go a week or so before we'll dump them. Don't dump them every chance you get.
Yeah.
Because especially if you have a big rig with a larger tank, like 43 gallons, like what we have, if we did it every time we came upon a rest stop that had the ability to do it, you need the fluid there to help flush everything through. Otherwise, you get those little poo teepees that they talked about at poo pyramids.
Yeah.
And so you want to let it build up enough so it helps flush everything there if you don't have a black tank flush.
So it's not really that it's flushing. The problem here is it's dropping on dry tank, so it builds up.
Yes.
It's like a stalagmite. Is what happens. So you need water in the tank so that it doesn't just build up. So that's another important thing. When Kerry and I dump our tanks, we'll go in and we'll make sure that we run several gallons of water into the tank,
Mm-hmm.
so it has some movement.
Whoa Nelly RV Adventures. The disadvantage to having a black and gray tank is if you're in freezing temperatures, your tanks could freeze. This happened to us, and we went to dump, and nothing came out.
Yeah, that is
And
an issue.
we haven't had to use it yet, but our unit did come with a black tank heater.
Okay.
Now,
so,
I don't know if that would make it really smell bad, but it would help.
No, I think it's
That
fine.
issue.
Here's the problem with that, though. And when it's real cold, it will heat our tank. But if there's anything down there in that valve, or down in where the black and the gray meet, and you have that single port, if there's anything down there, it won't help that.
Now, when we were at Escapees and we went for that one talk, this guy, he got in trouble by his wife big time because they
So
were
Wonelli's saying, yep, that's what happened. Their valves froze.
he said that he wanted to dump their tanks. They needed to dump their tanks, and they ran into that situation. So he took a blow dryer.
Stuck it down the
And
hole.
He figured, I'll just put it right there. The little flap will hold it. So he just put it there and turned it on to heat stuff up enough so it would get out.
So he ended up spending the night on the couch that night and having to buy his wife a new hair dryer.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. So, and he said, make sure the fan was on.
Yeah, well, when you hold that fan out, here's another thing with smell. You can leave a little bit of water in your tank or in the bowl after you use it, and that's like a barrier as well to stop smell coming. We don't have that issue, so we don't deal with that. But
So POA said that they had the same issue happen to them a couple times because they've been in some colder areas. They use a heat gun and electric tape. That's helped them a couple times.
Okay.
We don't have a heat gun, do we?
Nope.
And you're not allowed to use my blow dryer.
Yeah, I don't. We haven't been in that cold. I mean, we've been down in the 20s several times, even this year so far, but not for extended periods of time.
No, we're usually on the go, so it's not that continual.
And
now,
our tanks are covered and insulated. We do have the heaters, so we haven't had that issue.
Yeah, and Avenger RV Adventure said that if you don't have a heater, that you can add the heater to your tanks. And I know Kate and KV with their little guy Max,
Yep,
they
they
even
did that.
had all the tanks and pipes wrapped.
Yep.
Which is an add-on. Some units will come that way, but the vast majority won't, especially if it's not marketed as a Four Seasons rig. But know that you do have options that you can add these things on.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is Patty and Patrick, they just put out their video today. They went winter camping, and Patrick gave a little tip that if you are going to be in those freezing temperatures, don't use water. Don't put water, don't use your tanks during that period of time.
Yeah, you're dry camping at that point.
You're really dry camping at that time, and then go use public facilities if needed until you get beyond that area to where the temperatures will be a little better.
Good tip. Yeah, you don't want to put any liquid down in there because at that point you're worrying about the plumbing as well.
Now, Camper Life said that he adds RV antifreeze to his tanks when it gets really cold, so you can add that in.
Somebody had just scrolled down to the bottom. Somebody had just I want to.
Oh, AuthenticAdventures.com. Hello,
Yep.
my first time in any live YouTube chat. Well, welcome.
Thank you for
You'll
joining
find
us.
This is a very friendly room.
Yep.
And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to put them or comments that relate to the topic that we're talking about.
That was important because I wanted to get to Authentic Adventure and mention that. And I tell you what, even though this is your first time in a live, you're so far ahead of the game because what we find and what we even did for a long time, we went in a lot of live streams, but we didn't comment. So the fact that you're commenting right now means you're ahead of the game. And thanks for joining us.
So I'm just trying to find where I was. Now, I've seen a lot of this happen with people up north, especially people that are work camping or just are up north and like to still be in their RVs. 3 for the Road RV said that since they stay stationary, they keep space heaters beneath their tanks, and that helps. And I've seen a lot with the skirting up north, and people will put heaters underneath there to help.
Yeah, they'll skirt to keep the heat in. This nomadic idea just said something that is a very good point. So we're talking about the messiness or how easy this is, but he just said they saved 250 pounds. And I'm sorry if it's Ariane I just assumed it's Scott, but if it's Ariane, either way, they said they saved 250 pounds by adding
weight, yes.
a composting toilet, and that's huge, especially in a trailer where if you're close to your GVWR,
That's true.
you know. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, so if you are adding things, and let's talk briefly about renovations. We did a renovation. A lot of people you see nowadays are getting these older rigs or new ones and remodifying them.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand too that when they were built a certain way and put things in certain places to distribute the weight equally.
Yeah.
So if you are doing renovations, take that into account. So a lot of people are redoing flooring. Now, if you can do that thin laminate stuff, it doesn't add too much weight, but there's still some weight there because we pulled out our carpeting, which wouldn't have weighed that much,
Mm-hmm.
but we had to put the heavier flooring in. So what we did is we balanced that out by putting less furniture. We took out the big bulky furniture that they had in there to offset, and our weight was pretty darn close to what it was before.
So we removed, by bulky furniture, Kerry means the dinette. We completely pulled that dinette and the two couches. Yeah.
So if you are looking for space, or rather weight issues, Scott just pointed out something that you can save a lot of weight.
Yeah, 250 pounds is a massive amount of weight.
So you could put in these new desk systems, furniture and everything, and if you have to think of where to save, that is a cool place.
Or if you're not worried about weight, but one of the things that keeps you bringing you in is your gray tank holding, because there's a lot of water that goes into the gray tank. You could repurpose that black tank into a secondary gray tank as well.
Yes, I have seen that, to give you that extra tank usage when you're out.
Mm-hmm.
Diane Ski said, don't leave your black tank valves open, like when you go to campgrounds.
Yeah.
No one wants a popsicle or a deteriorating
Poosicle.
sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poosicle.
So here's other reasons not to leave that up. There are sewer flies, and they'll come right up into your rig. The smell, just like what we were talking before, and what Diane said about the poosicle. Yeah, you don't have any water in there, so it just starts building
up.
up.
If you leave it open, everything just drains all the way down.
Yep.
So it's better to, and we've actually gotten into that habit now when we're at a campground. Russ won't even bother hooking up the hoses unless we have to empty the tanks first.
Yeah.
He'll just wait until the end of our stay there, and then we'll go ahead and hook it all up.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Leave it outside.
Exactly.
So Camper Life was answering something from POA where he said, the heat lines are ran by your water lines to give them some heat, and it helps even when it's not covered.
Okay, so Whoa Nelly, they just mentioned making a P-trap with your, and I don't understand that completely. Is that where you create kind of a an arch in the
so the fumes
in the what's it called, the hose, and then you have water that blocks that off? Is that what that is, Whoa Nelly? I meant to research that for this. I hadn't gotten to it yet, but I have seen it and heard it a lot. I've just never really dove into that. Okay, so that is what it is. Thank you.
Oh, Camper Life warned us we have to stop talking about Patrick and Patty because they're here now.
Oh.
So, dang it.
We always
we
always say good things about Patrick and Patty.
No, Patrick, we were talking about your recent winter cold camping trip.
Yeah.
And your very good advice about dry camping if you don't want water in your lines and things like that. Talking about a dip in the hose that fills with fluids.
Yeah, that's the P-trap.
So that's the P-trap.
Okay, perfect.
And did you have any other...
No, we're done because we can't read the comments because my computer is not cooperating.
It doesn't cooperate with him. I can get it up in about 10 seconds.
But then it drops, so I think the battery's dead.
No.
Is what it is.
So...
Let's talk about now. I think we've kind of beaten this to death. If you guys have any other questions, any comments, let us know. Just keep firing them away. But what we also do on Sundays is we talk about what we've been up to, where we've been, what we're doing, because we don't do that lifestyle type video much anymore.
So we have been heading up towards Seattle. We've been taking our time through Nevada. Now, we had been as far as Rhyolite, I believe maybe just a little bit before then.
Yeah.
In years past. So we decided to follow 95, Highway 95, all the way up, and we tried to look for ghost towns that were accessible to our Class A.
rigs, yeah.
And that's one of the things that really made us kind of miss traveling with our little guy Max. In areas like this, you have that push and pull where we can stay longer at places with our Class A because of our tanks and
Yep.
everything.
But we're limited to where we can go and can't.
Yeah, and we have to constantly worry, are we going to get stuck somewhere? Can we get in and out of these areas elevation wise? But we did manage to find a couple really cool ghost
So
towns.
we found 5 ghost towns that we know we can get to. We've been to 4. So we are going to be doing a video of that here soon. But man, I tell you, these ghost towns. So when you find these ghost towns, some of them are like what you think about when you think ghost town.
Yes.
You know, like
Cool and eerie.
Rhyolite.
Yes.
Rhyolite, crazy. I mean, crazy. Beautiful place. About what, 120 miles outside of Vegas?
Something like that.
I highly suggest that. Now, we also found another one. Was it Goldfield? Which
Gold
was
Point.
Gold Point. So we went to Gold Point. That's not going to make the video because to us, there were still a lot of people living there, and Gold Point seemed more like a rundown place that still had people all over it.
Oh no, so Gold Point was pretty good. We took a look
Okay.
at it. It was Goldfield.
Okay, so that where
Yeah.
I was at first. Yeah,
Yes.
Goldfield. But anyways, we're not going to talk about all of those because we are going to put those up soon. But there will be a video. So we've been going to all these different places. I actually got to do some metal detecting
He
at
did.
Walker Lake. Yep.
Oh, I will tell you what though, the place. If you're traveling that area, you have to go to Walker Lake. Now there are also 2 more BLM sites. So, Sportsman's Beach is a BLM campground, and it's $6 a night. However, if you have the America Beautiful Pass,
Yep.
you can stay there for free. And then just up the road, you have 2 other areas that are BLM designated camping areas. Not as nice. Don't have the views that are as nice, but they're still pretty darn good. Those
Yeah.
are free.
Yeah, the problem with those 2 though are that there's soft sandy ground there, so you have to worry about getting stuck.
Yeah, the third one, I forget the last one. It's 20 Mile Beach.
Yep.
That one, there's a hill and there's gravel and very soft sand, so I totally dismissed that one just because I didn't want to get stuck. We weren't sure what the weather would be.
Yeah, I think the Sportsman Beach was the better out of the 3, so I'm glad we stayed there. It was very,
Gorgeous.
yeah, there wasn't too many people there. I think there was maybe only 3 other people. We only had one in eyesight, you know, in sight line.
Yeah, the way that they line up all the sites, everybody gets a view. So it doesn't matter, even if you're on the first level that you can see from the main road, you're still going to get an amazing view. Go down.
This is what I would say, yeah, exactly, about Sportsman Lake. If you're ever going there, keep going down. Don't take those first sites because there's more. There's prettier sites that are closer to the water. And what we read about it, like I said, there was only 3 people there the entire time we were there, and there's over 21 sites. But what we read about it was that any time of the year, it's pretty. It's not very crowded.
Right.
So.
So AuthenticAdventures.com asked, have we been to any of the Colorado ghost towns? No, but they will be, because now we've got, it's an addiction. Now we're like looking everywhere for them. So I want to visit any ghost town remnants.
Yeah.
As many as we can in whatever state.
You know,
we
it's
can.
one of those things. You walk around a ghost town and you think about the people that used to be here, what they were doing, what daily life was, what was day to day for these people. You know, you look at some of the like at Rhyolite, there's a bunch of cans and broken glass, which, by the way, even a tin can that maybe held sardines or something is protected
You cannot
out
pick
in
them up and take them
Rhyolite,
with you.
because anything that's an artifact, and an artifact, basic definition of an artifact is something that's man-made, that's over 100 years, is protected. So with that being said, a 1919 penny,
You cannot touch.
you cannot take it. But no, it's just amazing thinking what went on in this town. How many people were there? You know, what was this residence used for?
So the one we went to yesterday, we found out Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens,
Yep.
lived for about a year in Unionville, Nevada, and his cabin is still there. So if you check out our Instagram picture that we posted today, I was able to grab a picture of his cabin, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah, the
area.
cabin's not gorgeous, but the area is gorgeous.
But the area, I fell in love with that area.
I think Kerry and I, going through Uniontown, or Unionville, Nevada, we both looked at each other and said, this makes our list of if we were to ever settle down, might be a place we'd buy land at.
Yes.
I mean, there is no, forget Wi-Fi or forget, internet, because there isn't even cellular connection, but it is gorgeous up there.
So Rosebud's Travel said they just scored a lakefront site at Huntsville State Park.
Fantastic.
The Texas parks are busy. This is a busy time of year for Texas. I will agree, because that time of year everybody wants to escape the cold up north.
Mm-hmm.
Auntie Debbie Jean said Garnet Ghost Town in Montana is cool. Now we will have to check out the Montana ones.
We will be in Montana for quite some time.
At first
5
I
months.
thought she was going to say Garnet hunting, and I was like, we did it, and I would do it again. I would go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I like the sapphire hunting better than the garnet, but the garnet was fun. The one I won't do again is opal hunting.
That's hard work.
That's too much work.
And I don't know enough about it to tell what good rocks are for that. AuthenticAdventures.com said, read the book Angel of Repose before you go to the Colorado ghost towns. It provides a lot of background and context. I will put that on the list, because that's one of the things I love to do is if we come upon one that we didn't plan on it, we go and explore it, and then I read everything I can on it. And that's how I found out about the Mark Twain thing. We originally went to Unionville because I saw a post with this old church that looked amazing and eerie, and so I was like, we're going there. I wanted to get a picture of the church. And I was kind of sad because when we got up there, somebody had renovated the church. They kept the shape, but
not only renovated it, but they blocked it off. You cannot get to the church now. There's a big sign that says no trespassing.
Private property. I think they converted the church into a home, which I get, but it would have been very cool to walk in and around that eerie old church. So I was upset with that, but kind of happy that I found out that Mark Twain used to live there.
Yeah.
And then there was one more I was going to read. Well, Rosebud's Travels, they were talking about where they were. What about you guys? Where are you? Are you planning on any camping soon?
Yeah.
And where are you going to go? Because that's always interesting.
That's a lot to type and a lot to read.
Well, they can pick which part they want to answer,
Okay, so we're going to keep talking. You guys plop that out if you want to share where you are or where you're headed to.
All right, I can make it simple. If you're planning to go camping in your RV or travel in your RV in the next 2 weeks, type what?
I don't know.
Oh, I get to pick?
Yeah.
Usually you're the ones with it. Just type TT.
Okay.
Travel to somewhere.
Okay.
Boy,
you should have thought that one through before you said it.
You put the pressure on me.
So Get Bronson says Bend in Central Oregon.
Hey.
We got
and
TT.
We're gonna see him soon.
Yes, we are. Camper Life says TT. He's full time along with us, so I guess we can do TT as well.
Rosebud said they're going to their first casita rally. Now, I know Two Doves, they had gone to one before, and it was funny in their videos before, just seeing all those little eggs. I call casitas eggs because they just look like all these little eggs all over the campground. So have fun at that. So Howling Fun RV Adventures, March is going to be a big travel month for us.
Awesome.
Well, where are you going?
Awesome.
POA said once it gets warmer, we'll probably go to Land Between the Lakes. They had been there. Remember, they left us the travel brochure before. There's a lot of free camping in that area.
So Thin Blue Lane said, TT, they're going to Lake Conroe, Texas. Beautiful travel, or beautiful Thousand Trails campground. Kerry and I enjoyed it. We would go back. I would actually look at staying there. Aloha Nui Loa from Atman Adam is in the house. So I just wanted to say shaka to you, brother.
Russ likes Conroe also because of the cafe.
Yeah, the great food. Oh, yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
See, you almost nudged me. I saw the
No,
hand
I
move,
did.
but
I raised my voice to talk over you is what I did.
And see what he gets? He
I know.
almost missed out.
Yeah, you're right. At Lake Conroe, they have a cafe there. It is home-cooked meals. I haven't had a single meal that was bad there. Definitely give that cafe a shot.
He was so sad because Sunday was our last day there. We were pulling out Monday morning, and Sundays they were closed.
Oh, here's another one. Our Crazy RV Life is going to Hickory Hammock. We stayed at the water management area in the Hickory Hammock area. So there are two areas.
Next to it, yes.
Well, it's also considered Hickory Hammock, the area we are at next to it. Ishtapoga. Both beautiful places. You'll love that.
Hickory Hammock, if you're at the actual Hickory Hammock, it's a lot like Dupuis.
Yep.
Where they have the facilities with the showers and everything. Ishtapoga doesn't have the shower facilities, but it has pretty much everything else. That
Yeah,
have
when
to
you come
cover.
into Istapoga, though, if you ever go to Istapoga, it'll be a little confusing because you're thinking, okay, I'm going to Istapoga, but it says Hickory Hammock area, Istapoga. So I was like,
Yeah,
oh no,
okay.
we don't have reservations at Hickory Hammock. But you're going to have a great time. We enjoyed it out there.
So Roy and Becky's Travels, they are at Craggy Wash right now, which I'm not familiar with where that is.
Yeah.
Um,
Somebody had mentioned they were going to Cracky Barrel. Oh, it was Susan. Elwell.
Hey, you know what? We have not seen a Cracky Barrel since we left Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was the last
And
one.
this Walmart is the second closest. So if you leave Las Vegas, you've got a good 200-300 miles before you can.
If you're on 95.
Yeah, if you're on 95, Fallon, Nevada is the next closest one.
Yeah.
Nursing our travel bugs, sitting in Waco for a few more weeks. Oh, you get to go to the Gaines's.
Yeah, the silos.
Silos, thank you.
Roy and Becky
With the
Travel
wood.
says Craggy Wash is at Lake Havasu. Mark Malarkey says
nice.
so long. Take care, Mark. Thanks
Bye,
for
guys.
joining us.
Go pet the baby cows for me. So JT and DTs, we are in the middle of track season, so no camping until May. This nomadic idea in northern Georgia with the wood burning stove going. It was pretty cold late last night. You guys have had a bunch of crazy weather out there.
Yeah. We were just on the northern side of some crazy weather coming out of the Fallon area.
Yes. So when we left the, where were we? The beach at
Lake Walker.
Thank you. When we left Lake Walker, it was all overcast that morning, but I was watching the storm front that was kind of going through, and as soon as we passed Fallon, you just saw that clear delineation in the sky.
Yeah, you could see it.
Clouds and then blue sky.
It was like gray, blue. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
just
unbelievable.
Like a clear line.
Yeah.
But this nomadic idea, the Wendlands are currently in northern Atlanta camping now too, so you should check out. You might even be in the same area with them. So I'm trying to see. Okay, you read the Hickory Hammock one.
Yep.
Natman Allen. Oh man, I'm hungry and now I'm starved.
Yeah. So we are going to. We
You were
usually
talking
try to
about the
eat in the
cafe.
rig. I'm gonna go to Taco Bell after this because Taco Bell's right there.
You know why? Because we never go through drive-thrus anymore because you can't with a Class A. And Russ purposely wanted to stay at this Walmart because he saw that there was a Taco Bell right there. And I told him if he got through the live stream without bruising my leg, I'd let him get Taco Bell.
So do I get Taco Bell?
You get Taco Bell.
All right.
Although you did raise your voice. I don't know.
Hey, I couldn't tap you like this, so I had to raise my voice. Hey, what I have to say is important. People want to hear it.
Yes, okay. You will be heard. No worries.
I know.
about
A
that.
lot of times when I do that and I realize where you're going, I'm like, okay, yeah, she's better. What she was going to talk about is better.
It takes me a while sometimes to get to my point. I will admit that.
Yeah.
But just there's a method to my madness. Just go with it. And if I meander, you can call me out for the meandering. Okay. Howling Fun RV Adventures. Try the nacho tacos. They are so good.
Yeah.
Or the Dorito tacos.
Yeah, I have had those. They are fantastic. I am a creature of habit, so I always go with the number one, the Burrito Supreme. I love my Burrito Supreme. And a crunchy taco. Gotta have crunchy taco. Okay, if you like crunchy tacos over soft tacos, CT for crunchy tacos, ST for soft tacos.
You really went there with that.
I did.
I was going to
Right here, get Bronson. CT. Roy and
ST.
Becky's ST. They're on their Team Kerry ST. Proceeding ST. Wow, there's a lot of Team Kerrys. 3 for the road. CT. My goodness.
You know why? Because I bite into that crunchy taco, and without fail, everything falls apart on me. So then I just give up. I put it in a bowl, and then I just make it like a little taco salad.
That's the joy, the explosion of the crunchy taco. I get the cheese and just rub it all over my face.
Another divided house. Our crazy RV life. CT for Amy, ST for Jeff. And then, what is an AT for DT? Or it might have been ST because they're close together. So JT and DTs, they're divided as well.
There you go.
Donna said any.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do a soft taco. I won't turn a soft taco down. It reminds me of that time when I just said, I won't turn a soft taco down. I will turn a breakfast burrito down on occasion.
John said CT, John Kelly.
Okay. Where that, what I was talking about, Kerry and I were in Dog Beach in San Diego. This homeless guy came up to us and he pulled out, he goes, he's just a very nice guy, but he pulled out some very old looking burritos. He said, y'all want some breakfast burritos?
It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I was a cop back then. I immediately said no. Kerry was like,
rudely.
well, we just ate. And I was like, no. Turned around and went walking.
He was very nice.
He was. I will give him that.
He was very nice. But
That's
yes,
the only time I turned down a breakfast burrito, by the way.
it was obvious he was a street person, and here he was offering to share something.
No, I get it. He, like I said, he was nice. I just wasn't hungry for breakfast burritos at the
Okay,
time.
well, enough on that. As we are getting ready to close, we are heading to Oregon and Washington.
Yes.
If any of you know of any cool ghost towns, please send that to us or comment in the video below.
Yep.
So that way, if we can work it along our way, I want to check them out because I am hooked on these now, and they are great to photograph.
Yeah.
And I've been practicing on my photograph.
Yeah. All right. Looks like we're caught up. Other than William saying that he just ate a taco salad, so I'm going to join you on the Mexican bandwagon there. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Look forward to seeing you Friday night. We'll have a fun topic. I don't think we have that placed just yet, but we will be posting that up soon. And watch the community page. I know I keep harping on this because I do a lot of polls and questions for our live streams. Unfortunately, today it didn't work out.
Yes, I will give Russ technology training
Just
lessons.
don't let me hold that computer. You hold it, and I'll read it off the computer.
I even swapped out because I didn't take out my Chromebook. I did put
I know,
the computer.
it's horrible.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone, travel safe. Have a happy Sunday.
Take care, everybody.
And we will talk to you later.